What's up, Indiana? Welcome to Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Indiana Fever tip off the regular season tomorrow. We've got some breaking news from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And your Pacers are back in the Eastern Conference Finals. Lots to discuss. Thanks for joining. Saddle up. Indy Sports Nation starts right now. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me, whether it's live or on the replay. Cannot thank you enough. Welcome to yet another episode of Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Big Mike. We'll be hanging out for the next hour or so. Got a lot to discuss, as we always do, of course. First and foremost, I said in the intro, we got the Indiana Fever tipping off tomorrow. We got that. We got the Indy Ignites, little recap of what happened past weekend. Got some breaking news from IMS that came out today. Obviously, hence why it's breaking. And obviously, the big story is the Indiana Pacers back into the Eastern Conference Finals. So we're going to touch on all that. Touch on the Colts schedule as well. So a lots to do as always. I hope you've all had an amazing week. For those of you who are local or in the Indy market, please stay safe out there this evening. There is some gnarly looking weather that is heading our way. So whatever your evening plans are, keep an eye on the sky. Be safe out there. But before we get into all the content, as you know, we got to give our love to our amazing sponsors, Planet Jerky. Jerky, it's on a whole other planet. Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal, Wax Seal. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get these bills paid, and we'll dive into on the other side. Thank you once again for tuning in. It's your boy, Big Mike. Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. Thank you once again for tuning in. Much appreciated. I'd be remiss. I realized in the intro I didn't wish y'all a happy Friday, which might not be a big deal to some of y'all, but it is Fast Friday here in Indy, baby. So I gotta wish y'all happy Fast Friday to you. Again, if you'd be so kind, give us a follow on YouTube. Follow us at IE Sports Radio. Smash those subscribe buttons, whatnot. Comment Indy Sports Nation. Helps us out tremendously. Cannot thank you enough. And if you'd be so kind on X, formerly known as Twitter, you can follow the show page at IndySports_IESR. You can also follow me at the old personal account at the Chill Mike. I am also on TikTok. I really still haven't figured this out yet, but I'm getting better. I've actually went live a few times now, just talking hoops and anything else. But I'm at chill.mike7 there. And again, if you're watching live, hit me up those comments, man. Let's keep them sports related. Let's keep them PG. You all know the drill. So let's check those. Wow, we got a second here. Boy Ralph here, the Yinzer Report. He'll be going live here in a few hours. Have a great show. Appreciate you, buddy. If anything Pittsburgh related, state of Pennsylvania, for that matter, but Penn State, Pittsburgh, he's got you. Thoughts on the schedule release video with the Tyreek Hill reference. We're going to touch on that here in just a little bit. I thought it was funny. Tyreek Hill thought it was funny. Obviously, there's some other junk that went on with that. We'll touch on that here in a bit. And as always, our boy Taryn checking in. Good afternoon. Have an awesome show. I believe he just wrapped up his show, SoCal show, and he also does Set Point. This guy's covering so much volleyball. It's nuts. I really recommend you check him out. Before we dive into the breaking news, if you will, I want to give a quick update. We haven't covered it a whole lot on this show, maybe not at all, to be fair, just because there's been so much going on here and, in the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis as of late. But we are in the postseason for NCAA softball. And right now, the Indiana Hoosiers have a 3-2 lead over Oklahoma State. It is in top of the fourth, 1 out. And man, oh man, I tell you what, Minnick's having herself a game. Already has 2 home runs, so we'll keep an eye on that. Try to provide an update here before the end of the show. But with that said, I mentioned some breaking news, if you will. So we are going to go to the world of IndyCar. And as I mentioned, happy Fast Friday. The big news came out of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. They announced this morning around 9 o'clock-ish, somewhere around there this morning, a quote-unquote significant announcement to be made at 11 a.m. It kind of course, they were pretty, lip sealed on it, but what else was it really going to be? I mean, one could argue, hey, a big celebrity's coming in, or there's been rumor of the president coming in to visit, so you could argue it was that. But I think all of us kind of had the feeling, and the feeling is that came to fruition. It is true. The local blackout has been lifted for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Now, for those of you out of market, are probably like scratching your head, going, "Wait, it was a blackout?" Like, yes, it's been blacked out here in most of the state of Indiana for years, ever since the beginning of time. Quite frankly, the only time they've lifted the blackout is for the 100th running, and of course the COVID year where nobody could be there. So this is big. But what this also means too is they are able to announce that the grandstands have sold out. So really, right now, all it's left for the most part to get to the race, which, by the way, your boy will be at the Indy 500. Very, very excited for that. But what this means, again, is pretty much the only thing that's left is infield, general admission. So right now, they're going to estimate, again, I've said before, I say it a million times, it is a single-day largest sporting event in the world, because there are going to be 350,000 people in attendance to see the greatest spectacle in racing, which is the Indianapolis 500. So that is some big, big, big news. I'm a huge fan of this. I know some have already come out and said, well, wait a minute, it's going to hurt the radio broadcast, because the radio broadcasters always have picked those guys do an amazing, amazing job. Turn down the TV volume, man. I don't know. You have to watch it either if you don't want to. Do what you normally do. I'm just happy for the people who want to maybe go to the race but can't. This is tradition that goes down, generations and generations, where families, this is what you do. You go to the race. You get up at the crack of dawn, you wake up, you get showered up, whatever, and 7 a.m. you're cracking that first beer, and we're like, let's go. It's race day, baby. But now, as you can imagine, it's, generations are older and health reasons or whatever, sometimes they just can't go. It's a chore to work. So these people will be able to stay home and watch, and I love that. I'm really, really happy for that. And the cool thing is too, again, for those of you who don't know, it was blackout. It was always a blackout. Obviously, you can listen to it on the radio, but then they would do the replay, 8 o'clock that evening, right? Well, they're also going to keep that going. So you're going to be able to go to the race and be able to come back and watch the replay if you want. And what's even cooler about this year, and we'll touch on this later in the show, it's Pacers and Racers, as I've been saying for a few weeks now. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, so the first home game for the Pacers, will be that night. So we're going to have the Indy 500 going on during the day, and that evening the Pacers will be tipping off against either the Celtics or the Knicks. for the first home game of the Eastern Conference Finals. There is not going to be a better place to be than the city of Indianapolis on that day. So really cool stuff coming from the Motor Speedway today. Quick update on kind of what went down today at the track other than the news. Obviously, it's Fast Friday, right? So for those of you who don't know, that is they're prepping for qualifications, which start tomorrow. So, positions, 13 to 30 basically will be locked in tomorrow. And then Sunday, you've got your Fast 12 and you've got your bump day going too. So Sunday, it's a great weekend. Obviously, guys are working on their qualification setups. Today was a little interesting. It was not quite the speeds I think many thought we'd see, but for those of you who are obviously out of market, it's been a pretty warm day here. Track's pretty hot and it's windy. So the speeds were not quite there unless your name is Scott McLaughlin. He hit almost 234 miles per hour today. So he is the early favorite to win pole yet again. He's actually been picked as one of the favorites to potentially win the race. So, and I'm kind of right there with him on that. I think he has a real good shot. We'll see how he qualifies. But he was the speed man today, followed by Will Power, who was a couple miles per hour behind him. So he was around 231. And you had Rasmussen, Ed Carpenter, and of course, Palou. And speaking of Palou, as you saw last weekend, Sancio Grand Prix, which again I was able to attend, which was a kind of a heck of a time as I always do. You kind of thought like, wait a minute, Graham Rahal got him at the start of the race and Graham led for so many laps. Is this going to be the race? Maybe somebody beats him. And then Palou goes, hold my beer. I'm going to do what I do. And he did what he did. And of course he wins again. So third year in a row, he wins the Sancio Grand Prix in 4 out of 5 races to start the IndyCar season. So on another level, but as I've mentioned, and I'll mention again, we're getting to ovals now, and ovals are a different beast. And he's not had the success on ovals that he's had on road and street. So this will be wide open, but he's going to be a contender. He almost always is. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Checking the comments here one more time. Yes. The 11th anniversary. I was going to get into that in the next segment here, but I appreciate just bringing this up now. The 11th anniversary. Yes, the Indy 11 had their inaugural game, and 11 years ago. So she's absolutely spot on. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you sharing that. And I'll get to it a little bit later. But celebrating IE Radio's IE Sports Radio's 11th birthday anniversary and whatnot. Some of the things we're going to discuss, or we're discussing on a variety of shows, is things like rivalries in the past 11 years, what could have been, what would have happened if. I'll get to mine here in a bit because I think y'all know what it probably is going to be. But with that being said, we'll try to put a bow on IndyCar here. Had a few crashes. Rasmussen yesterday, Kiffin Simpson today with a pretty significant crash. He's okay. Hit the safer barrier coming around turn 4 and just slid into it and hit it, got a little airborne. Significant damage to the vehicle, as you can imagine, but he was checked out and is okay. So we will get into more of the IndyCar stuff. Obviously, next week will be very heavily focused on IndyCar. Obviously, we'll be talking, it'll be Carb Day this time next week. So we'll know who's on the pole and who's qualified where, whatnot. They have the pit stop competition, but I think most importantly, you have your last practice. And that's when these cars are in traffic and whatnot. You can kind of get a glimpse of who the favorites might be. So really, really excited to get into that with you all next week. One thing here before we take our first break, as I had to, you kind of had to bring this up, right? Is the Indy Ignite. What unfortunately lose to Orlando in the PVF final last weekend, 3 sets to 1. It was 25-21, 25-19, 19-25, and then 25-15. They rallied in that third set. They started off the fourth set pretty good, and then just the wheels kind of came off. And look, I don't think. Brittany Abercrombie is her. She was just on another level, and that's why she's MVP. Anna DeBeer did not have her best day. It's just unfortunate. We all know how this goes in sports, right? Sometimes it just doesn't line up. She had some looks for some kills. This wasn't finding the spots that she needed to find. But I don't think that would have mattered at the end of the day. I mean, just the way Orlando played, and I think it was just kind of their day, and it was going to be their day. So congratulations to Orlando, but more importantly, I feel like a great inaugural season. Again, inaugural season for the Indy Ignite. Your first season, and you're playing for a championship. Even though they had that tough stretch at the end of the season, but they righted it just at the right time. Obviously, beating Omaha in the semifinal. I mean, that was a stunner, a 5-set battle. So they've got something to build on going forward. I mean, we know how sports goes, come and go, whatnot. They've done this past month, 6 weeks, whatever it's been now, without member Mena, which is, to me, it's great. I mean, it's next person up, right? Taylor with 16 kills against Orlando. Lydia Martin, 8 kills, 2 blocks, 1 ace. Just good matches with those two women. Not quite enough. But a heck of a run. We'll kind of put a bow on the Indy Ignite for a bit. Obviously, if there's anything, newsworthy that comes up, we'll mention it. But just congrats to the Indy Ignite, and again, the following that they've built in just a very short amount of time here. I've mentioned, I believe last week, that there were 5 pubs and whatnot on the north side of Indianapolis that had Indy Ignite watch parties, and mind you, the Pacers were also playing. So they're getting a following, they're building that, they're growing it, the foundation's there. Really, really excited for this team, going forward. So with that being said, we'll get our first break in of the show. We'll get a little Fever talk on the other side, and we'll get into Colts talk on the schedule and kind of the little bit of controversy that went in there. So get a quick break. We'll be right back on the other side. Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Are you a Tar Heel, Blue Devil, Demon Deacon, or maybe even a Gamecock? Do you cheer for the Panthers, the Canes, the Crown? And check out the Carolina Sports Update every week with me, Neil Curtis, to get the latest and greatest on all the sports action in the Carolinas. We'll be talking pro sports, ACC and SEC football, basketball, baseball, and everything in between. We'll even talk a little Formula One racing now and again. So, for the best hour of Carolina sports coverage, catch me each week on Carolina Sports Update with Neil Curtis, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you again so much for tuning in, whether you're live or on the replay. Cannot thank you enough. Quick update here. IU softball looks like they have just extended that lead to 6-2 over Oklahoma State. So, like I said, we'll keep you posted, and probably have another update or two before we go off air here. So, with that being said, let's jump. Indiana Fever. It's time. Here we are. Regular season tip tomorrow against the Chicago Bricklayers. The Chicago Sky. That was mean. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not. I've got a little bet with our boy Adam K, who does Chi-Town or Chi Sports Weekly, and also the Neutral Zone. So you're welcome for the plug. But anywho, let's get back at it. So they did finish the preseason 3-0, which again, we talked about this last week. Preseason's preseason. It is what it is. Wins and losses don't really mean a whole lot, but obviously you'd rather see them win, right? So, so 3-0. Chicago's got tomorrow, 3 p.m. Caitlin Clark, 13 points in 23 minutes. For those of you who may not be aware, she's actually been nursing a sore left leg. I believe it's the left leg. And so when they did the game in Iowa against the Brazilian national team, she was going to bite quite a bit, just trying to keep the thing loose. So obviously you're going to limit her minutes in preseason anyway, because you just are. But something to kind of keep an eye on. It's just one of those lingering things. It hasn't, from what I've seen of her, I don't think it's really bugging her that much. But at the same time, things you got to take care of, right? So Lexi Hall led with 14 the other last weekend. So one thing I've noticed is some of the projections for this Indiana Fever team this season, and obviously the expectations here are high, just because of the second half of the season last year, how they rallied, made it to the playoffs, and now you've got Bonner and Howard and Cunningham and all these amazing women that you've added to this team, obviously while keeping Kelsey and Caitlin, obviously, Leah, Lexi. So the expectations here are like, this could be a potential, championship type run here. I don't want to put, the cart before the horse here or anything like that, but I've said it early, and I've said it for a bit now. I think to me, you definitely want to get that next step, which would be the semifinals. You don't want to go out first round. A lot of people here thinking they should make the finals. I'm not going to go there yet, because there is something about this chemistry thing, and they still got to work, and you kind of figure each other out. The schedule is way better than it was this time last year. They're going to play, obviously, Chicago. Then they got 2 versus Atlanta coming up as well before I see you all again next Friday. So, and I'm not. That's not me trying to say those were easy opponents or anything like that. I'm not going there. I'm just saying last year they just put them out. If you remember, they had like 10. They were playing 12 games for anyone else in the league was playing 6, and they were all against like the Aces and the Liberty. Because it was Caitlin, and ESPN wanted eyes on the product, so that's kind of what they did. So the Fever had this gauntlet to go against, and then once that gauntlet kind of slowed down, they're like, okay, we got to get this figured out now. They started winning some games, so the scheduling gods, if you will, completely helped them out there, which is good. But one of the things that I found kind of interesting was the over-unders I've seen out there. I saw one that had 23. I was like, wow, they won 20 last year after starting 1-9. So I was kind of intrigued by that. Now, do I think they're going to go out and win 35? No, I'm not saying that. Do I think they're going to win and do what? Mind you, there's more games this year. Keep that in mind. So that was the thing that surprised me too. They got a few more games this year, and yet, wait a minute, you're actually saying they're going to win a few more games? I just kind of found that to be a head scratcher, which is fine. It's fine by me. I like that underdog role. I like the whole thing. Like, hey, we're not really, it's Indiana, whatever. I'm good with that. So that's fine. You keep doing you. I'm good. So, but a lot of excitement, obviously. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, you know what the media's going to be doing, narrative all day, this whole Angel versus Caitlin thing, which I think has just gotten really stupid and out of hand. But, it is what it is. But looking forward to seeing these ladies tip off tomorrow, 3 o'clock. So moving on. from the Fever. Let's talk a little Colts, right? Schedules out. A couple things came up with this here, so I wanted to kind of revert back to our friend Jess, which he chimed in. Shin pads and shenanigans on IE Sports Radio, by the way, to get your soccer fix. Again, IE Sports Radio, 11 years. So we're talking like things have happened in the market in 11 years. So, rivalries and what have you. Really a lot. There's been some downtimes with the Pacers in the past 11 years. Shortly before that is when you had the Paul George, Hibbert, and those guys run against the Heat, what have you. Obviously, some college stuff, we get all that. But obviously, the big one here, what if Andrew Luck had not retired? I mean, where would the franchise be? What would have they accomplished had he not retired? That's the biggest thing here. I would say we're talking 11-year anniversary. That to me, that's the most obvious one. So whether local folks are watching live or replay, hit me up on socials. There's definitely others to talk about, no doubt about it. I thought that'd be a good time to bring this up because we were talking about the Colts. Schedule's out. Not mad about it. There's some things that, the one Monday night game. Okay, listen, they're 8-9 team. What did you think was going to happen? The only teams who were worse to get a crap ton of primetime games were the Jets, and even they cut them back dramatically this year. But in all fairness, I look at it here. You got two home opener against the Dolphins, and then next week you stay at home against the Broncos. So 2 straight home games, and then you go to Nashville to play the Titans, and then to LA for the Rams, and then come back home for 2 more against the Raiders and the Cardinals. Look, that's not a bad start, at least on paper. Now, obviously, this all depends on the quarterback play for the Indianapolis Colts. We've seen on paper the draft looked pretty solid. I think most people would agree, at least locally. I don't care what national says. Get into more of that national rant in a bit when we talk about the Pacers. But at the end of the day, still with even the defensive pieces they've added and a decent draft up, it's still going to depend on quarterback play. But you look at that start, look at that schedule, you're like, okay. There's no reason to think you can't win 4. Again, things depending. I understand this. But anyway, so that second home game is a 4:00 game. All right. Some people love that. Some hate it. Chargers, it's week 7, in LA. So a couple trips to LA this year. Back home with the Titans for another 4:30 game. Cool. Of course, they're going to Berlin to host. That's the home game against the Falcons. Bye week comes at a better time this year. It was late last year, so it being in November this year is much better. Back half gets a little tougher. Obviously, they go to Kansas City. Although Mahomes has struggled against the Colts, believe it or not, look it up. It's kind of a head scratcher. Then you get more division. So you got Texans and then Jags, Seahawks, and then the one Monday nighter against San Francisco, where he closed out against the Jags and the Texans. So I kind of like how that shakes out. Or by that time, we may not care and just be putting bags over our heads. We don't know. But it could be a situation where we had a few years ago where you've got the Texans for winner takes the division, loser goes home type of thing. So that very well could happen. Yeah, it's got a reply from Adam Ghost Guy. I love it. So overall, again, it's fine. I don't get wrapped up in it just because we just don't know what's going to happen yet. There's so many unknowns right now with the Colts. Well, really one unknown. And speaking of which, so we'll go into that because Ralph asked a question at the start of the show about the everybody's doing these things now for the schedule release, right? And I think it's cool. Some people don't care about it. It's fine. have some fun with it, sure. But who's ever doing this for the Colts, plus who's ever doing their social media needs a little talking to, maybe a nice, high five, maybe to the face. So first and foremost, they keep putting up videos of Daniel Jones, making these great, look at these great passes Daniel Jones is making. Okay, let me tell you something right now. The fans don't want to see that. I know you're trying to preach this whole competition and it's good for the team. Yeah, it is. It is. No one's saying it's not. But you got to understand, nobody in this fan base wants Daniel Jones to be QB1 for the home opener, because we all know what that means. Either AR's hurt again, or more than likely they've his career here is probably done if that's the case. So nobody wants to see that. So there's that. But then what I wanted to get to was the schedule release of the Colts. And for those of you who didn't see it, they had to take it down solely for the fact they didn't get permission. All right, so they did it. It was a Minecraft thing, right? We all remember the game. Like I said, you can go out and it's all over the place now. I mean, they took it down, but people downloaded it and reposted it and whatever. It was I thought it was pretty funny. In fact, I think I've got it reposted on my TikTok, to be honest with you, so you can check it out if you like. But I thought it was pretty funny. It started, here he is. It's this dolphin in the water. It's Tyreek Hill, and then all of a sudden you see the Coast Guard come to pay him a visit. It's kind of savage. But here's the thing: even like Tyreek even took to social media. He's like, "Dude, I thought it was funny." There's another one with the Titans. They actually had Will Levis, eating a jar of mayonnaise in the middle of the road and getting hit by a bus. Like, it's just like, I thought it was funny, but the issue with it wasn't so much the content. They didn't get the proper permission to base their release off of that. And last time I checked, Microsoft is kind of a big deal. So between these two errors, what are we doing over here, man? What are we doing? But still funny. I encourage you to go check it out. I thought it was, and I missed a few other things on there too. But it's worth the watch if you can go find it. It was well done. It just is what it is. I had to give shout out to the Chargers though for theirs as well, because they did one for the Colts, and it had they had AR, Daniel Jones, and Jason Bean, the quarterback group for the Colts, it's basically formation for the race. And then they start racing, and at the end, AR gets tired and taps out. I kind of thought that was fun. I mean, I was like, all right. I kind of like stuff like that, man. I like the friendly. It's fun. It's just fun. No one's getting over the line personal there, in my opinion. But anyway, check a few more comments here. Yeah, my boy Charlie checking in. What's up, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, he did say Hill said he thought it was hilarious. But I think we all know why they had to pull it. I mean, it was just because you got to ask permission. You're going to do something like that. You can't just do that and expect to get away with it. But yes, it's like sometimes we say that, like, this is why we can't have nice things. Because we do stuff like this. It's like, kid, what are we doing? But anyway, encourage you all to go watch it if you get a chance. And again, to reiterate, 11 years, I touched on that. I'll bring it up again. What, rivalry, what the biggest what ifs, some of the biggest stories. I mean, a lot of the big stuff happened maybe before that, but for me, it's obviously the biggest what if in the world is Andrew Luck not retiring. If he stayed, what would have happened? That's all. I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find anything bigger than that. But with that said, let's get the last break in here. I want to get into the Pacers. We'll spend the rest of the show talking Pacers and just some thoughts about what we saw against Cleveland and some potential thoughts about what's going to who they may play. So let's get the one last break in here and talk all Pacers on the other side. Thank you once again for tuning in to your boy here, Big Mike, Indy Sports Nation, right here at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph DeLeese, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate, die-hard Steeler? Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan, then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold and have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
What the fever on the head?
Hey yo, what's good, Georgia? It's your boy ACS, and if you love sports from the Peach State as much as I do, then Georgia Sports Central is your one-stop destination for down south sports, courtesy of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you a Yellow Jacket at heart, or do you bleed the red and black of the Bulldogs? Do you keep it true to Atlanta with Trae Young, Capella, and the boys? Do you rise up with the Dirty Birds on Sundays? Are you excited to see what the future holds for Michael Penix Jr., Bijan, and the rest of the Falcons squad? Do you live at 755 Battery Avenue? Do you rep for Albies, Acuna, and the rest of Braves country? If so, then let's get united every Wednesday for some Braves, Hawks, UGA, Georgia Tech, Atlanta Dream, Falcons, and more on Georgia Sports Central, only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning in, whether it's live or on the replay. Thank you so very much. Final segment of the show. And of course, how to save a little, at this point, what's going on in Indiana? How to save the best for last. How about those Indiana Pacers? A gentleman's sweep, as they call it. Whatever catchy name you want to put there is fine with me. It's a 4-1 series victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I put a little video out this week on the IE Sports Radio page. Actually, I didn't put it out. IE Sports Radio put it out for me, but you get it. This was not on my card at all. What's the corny saying? It's not on my bingo card. Okay, cool, whatever. It wasn't. It just wasn't. And that's not because I'm not a fan of my team or have confidence in my team and things like that. I just thought kind of going into the series that I thought the Pacers would give them fits. Just because, it was a small sample size in the regular season, but, I just thought they would give them fits. I was thinking, I said it on here, I was like, as a homer, yeah, I want to see him win this thing in 7 or whatever, but I thought probably Cavs in 6, and a lot of people here locally thought that too. Not that we wanted that, obviously, but we just kind of thought, people like Mobley could give Pacers some fits. Hunter could give them some fits. Mitchell's always had a lot of success against the Pacers. I wasn't really worried about Garland as much. He's obviously a good player. A great player, to be fair. Obviously, he's a great offensive player. I think he could be a liability defensively, but anyway, so I digress. But man, just getting game 1, I thought was like, okay, great. You had to get a split. We discussed this, and then all of a sudden the injuries come up in game 2, and I'm gonna get to the injuries here in a minute because there were some interesting things that were said this past week regarding injuries in the Indiana Pacers. I definitely want to discuss that. But obviously with the injuries to the Cavs in game 2, I'm like, okay, at this point, you have to get game 2 now. You do not want to give Cleveland a chance. They've been too good all season. They did not win 64 games by accident. And made it look like that game was done. Just was terrible. And then we all know what happened at the end. The Tyrese. That's all I need to say. So you get game 3 back at Indy. Kind of knew it was going to be desperate time for Cleveland. They had to come out, and they did, and they just punched Indiana right in the mouth. And then game 4 comes around, and Indiana returns the favor, putting up 80 in the first half, and then you get the chat about Mitchell going out, in game 4 in the second half, not playing. And people here are saying, "Oh, it's a bruised ego, blah blah blah," because they were getting whooped. I'm like, I don't even care if the dude has a hangnail. I'm not playing him. I mean, I do think he probably did re-aggravate it a little bit, but he obviously looked pretty good on in game 5. I wouldn't have put him in. What was the point? You're down 41.5. I mean, it's sometimes in games like that, you just take the L and regroup. But you could tell the Cavs team was tired anyway, so rest them. Again, 64-win team, have some confidence maybe. I don't know. I'm not speaking for their coach. I'm just kind of where my brain was going. And then come game 5, it's, as a Pacers fan, I'm like, you got to put this thing to bed. You're up 3-1 now. Don't even give Cleveland a chance. And then all of a sudden, Cleveland's up 19. I'm like, oh boy. But then Tyrese starts doing Tyrese things, hits these shots like Caitlin Clark, from the logo type shots. And I'm like, oh boy, it's going down for him. He's feeling it. And there's nobody on the cast that's going to stop him. It's just not going to happen. But all that, as that's going down, I'm like, okay, Pacers, just get this team, just get to single digits at this point. Go to halftime, maybe be down 8-9 points, and you're in a good spot. It ended up being 4, which is even better. And then coming out in the third quarter, we saw what happened, and that's where I started feeling really, really good about the Pacers, about the series being done then. Now, you say what you want, but the officiating, and I'll have my, I will, because Donovan Mitchell, as great of a player he is, and he is. There's no doubt about that. No hate on him whatsoever. But boy, does he get that whistle. There were some calls in there that were fouls, sure. Not going to sit there and argue with you on that. But there was one, poor Thomas Bryant. My God, that poor guy's like, to the point, I can't even breathe on him because they're going to call a foul on me. And there was one play where he basically was trying to step out of bounds, so he wouldn't get. They still called the foul. It was just like, forget it. He gets that superstar whistle. He's like Brunson from the Knicks. They both kind of draw that, but it's too much for me at times. And that, I know when Mitchell came back in the game, he left a little bit in the third, but I knew when he came back, it wasn't going to be over. But I still felt pretty good. And the one thing I noticed, and I'm guessing a lot of you who were watching noticed this too, and you go to timeout, Cleveland's just kind of hunched over, hands on their knees, and just open mouth breathing. That it's just what it was. They were gassed. And that's what this Indiana Pacers team does to you. And that's where I want to take a step back, because I can't believe this is even coming out of my mouth right now. Because we all know the angel and the lovable guy here in Indy. I mean, we love him so much. Pat Bev, he's our favorite. He even said on his pod, and I found this to be very interesting coming from him. And I think, I agree with it. He's like, these injuries aren't by mistake when you play the Indiana Pacers. And I know I saw people on social media. We all see it. We all see the morons, the clowns out there, like, they're trying to hurt our guys on purpose. He tried to intentionally break Hunter's hand. They're trying to, they're doing this to guard, blah, 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 blah. The pace and the tempo that the Pacers are playing at, it's hard to keep up with. It is. I mean, you saw it in the series. Cleveland would get dunked or something, for example, look up to the crowd, just kind of do a salute to the crowd. Crowd's going crazy. Cleveland crowd was great, by the way. They were they were amped. They were fantastic. And by the time they even turn around, Pacers have got the ball already across half court, setting a play and about to score. Like that. It's just that back and forth, that high pace of play. Guess what? It can lead to injuries. That was the Pat Bev point of it. He goes, it's not that they're trying to hurt you. It's just their style of play. Yes, they're physical. It's the playoffs. Yes, they step it up. It's physical. Look at any sport. Hockey, for example, we got the playoffs going right now. They're skating faster. They're hitting harder. That's playoffs. That's what it is. So I found that to be an interesting comment from him. I really did. But Pacers here we get back-to-back years, Eastern Conference Finals. It's not a fluke. Last year, you could argue it was a little fluky. Fine. Oh, that's fine. They were just happy to be there last year. You got to remember this team was garbage just a few years ago. I mean, it was awful. Take a big step last year, take another step this year, and now here we are, Eastern Conference Finals, and they've got a legit shot. I mean, going into the finals last year, we're like, yeah, no. Let's just maybe win a game or two. But nobody thought. I mean, no. Now you're going into it going, hey, wait a minute. The NBA is pretty wide open right now, Wicks. There's a real shot here. Obviously, they got to do some things. We'll get into that. But checking in on a few comments here, real quick before we kind of take the next step here. You can tell the Cavs started panicking, not being able to put them away. Yeah, you could see it. It's a body language. You could hear it in that crowd when this Pacers started making that comeback in Game 5 and Tyrese was hitting those threes. You could kind of feel it. And it does kind of crush the spirit when you're doing that. You're up night, and then you see this happening again, and then the pace of play again. It's just it's wild. I want to share this stat before we kind of jump forward a little bit here. I said before the playoffs started, we needed playoff NIMBY. I felt that he'd been a little bit, do I dare say it, a little inconsistent, especially offensively. But there was definitely some games defensively where he was just off, and obviously he was injured, early in the season, what have you. But I wanted to share this. I'm going to pull this up here real quick. And this is a defensive stat for NIMBY. And like I mentioned, playoff NIMBY showing up was going to be huge for the Pacers, and along with Nesmith, and they both have shown up. And this is why this Pacers team is a big part of the reason why this Pacers team has been so successful. But this stat I thought was really cool. So during the Cavs series, Donovan Mitchell, and we torched us, shot 10 of 43. So a few math majors, that's 23.3% when guarded by Nembhard. I thought that was a cool stat. So between his play and Nesmith doing what he can do on both sides, both sides of the ball, and they keep this going. These guys keep doing what they're doing. They're going to, I'm telling you, this Pacers team's going to be a hard out. They just are. Which leads me to my question. I've got scrolling here. Who do we want to see? Who do we want to see? Knicks or Celtics? Obviously, they've got Game 6 tonight. I'm going to tell you where I'm at. I want Boston to win tonight. I want this thing to go 7. You know what? If I'm being greedy, I'm going because Game 7 would be Monday. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is Wednesday. So I want Boston tonight. And then I want Monday, I want that game to go in like 2 overtimes. It's really where I'm down, man. No, it's probably not going to happen. But look, obviously that'd be best case scenario, I think, for the Pacers and Pacers fans. So Pacers fans, in my eyes, should be, cheering for the Celtics tonight and to see this thing go 7. As for who I would rather see, and I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think it's just, it's opinion and whatever it is, what it is. I think I would rather see the Knicks. And here's why. Brunson's going to Brunson. He's going to do his thing. Towns is going to do his thing. They just are. But I like the depth of the Indiana Pacers. We all know how the Knicks, he doesn't utilize his bench like he should, in my opinion. I think a lot of Knicks fans have said the same thing. Pacers have an advantage there anyway. They use their bench, and I think their bench is better. I don't think the Knicks can hang with the pace of play. I just don't. For over 7 games. Over the course of a 7-game series, I just don't know that they can. Maybe I'm wrong. Will the Knicks get a few games? Oh, I'm sure. I would have no doubt. But I'll take the Knicks, and I tell you what, the longer that series goes, if that was to go to 7, I can see the exact same thing happening this year that happened last year, where the Knicks were just gassed. They had nothing left. And mind you, the Pacers were down to 0-2. So even if it is the Knicks, obviously it's on, Knicks are going to be the favorite, or it doesn't matter who it is, Celtics or the Knicks, they're going to be the favorites. Pacers are going to be underdog in every game, and that's fine by us. We're good with that. Take that all day, every day. But I just over 7 games, and just at the way the Pacers are playing now, I don't know that this can hang for 7. I just don't. Ball handling, I think, is going to be a struggle outside of Brunson. There's just some things I like matchup wise. I mean, it's going to be a battle. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that it's going to be a cakewalk. It's not. But if you ask me who I'd rather see, I think I'd probably rather go with the Knicks or see the Knicks. The Celtics, even though without Tatum, I know some will say that. Hey, well, they're without Tatum. You should want them. Boston's still a good team without Tatum, man. Don't be careful what you wish for there. They still got guys that can handle the ball, and they got some shooters. So I'm not saying I wouldn't feel confident. I still think Boston would struggle to keep the pace if the Pacers can keep this pace going. Obviously defensively, the Knicks or the Celtics, whoever it is, will have to give them some different type of looks to see if they can slow them down. If they're able to do it, then that's one thing. But it's you've seen the Pacers just struggle for like 2 games so far in this postseason, and that's been it. The team is 42-16 since January. That's would typically be like a 1 seed. So, but right now the Pacers are playing like one. We'll see if they can keep it up and continue it. But I wanted to get to one thing here real quick, and I mentioned it earlier about national media. That's why I always like promoting the IE Sports thing, because the hosts on these shows that we do are typically a little bit closer to the pulse, if you know what I mean, right? For any of you who watch the major networks, that's fine. We all watch them for the games. I get it. I pretty much don't watch them for anything other than that, because their takes, their comments, sometimes are some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, and it just happened again this week. Some of you may watch, FS1, the show Speak. They've got Keyshawn Johnson on there. He's been everywhere since retirement. ESPN, Fox, bounces everywhere. We all know he was good receiver, in his day, yada, yada, yada. But man, they were literally talking about this the other day. Can the Pacers handle the Knicks in 7? And he's literally saying, oh no, that's way too much pressure. They're not used to that. They're not used to that spotlight. Pacers, no way the Pacers can handle that. He literally said this. Go back and watch. Bro, last year, dude. Tell me you don't watch ball without telling me you don't watch ball. What are you doing on here getting paid to spew that crap? That's just complete jackassery. Do I need to remind you what happened last year in the semifinals? He went into Madison Square Garden and ran the Knicks out of the arena. Just ran them out of the arena. In a Game 7 in New York. Oh no, Pacers! It's too much pressure. They're not used to that. No, they're not going to do it. It's Knicks easily. They get on TV and get money for this crap. It's unbelievable to me. Just reason again why I can't watch that crap. But look, I mean, at the same time, it's already been spewed nationally. It doesn't matter. I said, Pacers are the dogs. Nobody cares. Cool. I'm good with it. And I really think they would have probably turned on the Cavs too, even though the Cavs won the 64 games. I'm pretty sure had the Cavs end up winning the series, they'd have been like, oh, well, it's just New York. It's the Knicks. They've got it together now. Yay, raw New York. Yay, big market, blah, 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 blah. I just had to rant about that for a minute because it's just stupidity at the end of the day. It really, really is. Look, again, the Pacers are going to be the dogs. That's fine. Welcome it. I'm looking forward to whoever it is are playing. And before we wrap up here, I just want to give a big shout to, to my fellow Clevelanders. We had a little bit of fun with probably at each other's expense a little bit this past week or so. I know I had some friendly chats with Jen B, who does our Show of the Land show here on IU Sports Radio. And, a few of my friends on social, and, we had a little bit of back and forth, but it was all well fun. I know they're probably thinking it wasn't so much fun because the series is over, but it was a lot of fun. And there were some really, again, I know they're not, people are going to listen to me. I get it, but, sports fans out there, just take it easy, man. I mean, what you're sending to an opposing fan, what you're sending to their, DMs or whatever, just stop it. Just, there's no reason. This is something that's supposed to bring us together. And yeah, we can heckle and whatever, and just have a little bit of fun at your expense. But then when it gets, stop crossing the line, stop threatening people, and just stop it. Just stop it. So on that note, we are going to see if I can get a quick update here. We're about to wrap up the show for another week, but I want to see if we can't pull up just real quick update for Indiana. And of course, the app wants to be stupid. Yada yada yada. Where are we at here? It is 6-4. 6-4 Hoosiers. We are bottom 6. No out. Oklahoma State's got a runner on second. So best of luck to the Indiana Hoosiers softball team. And I hope each and every one of you have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy all the games. And stay safe out there, all right? Big weather coming in, so stay safe. Big Mike here signing off. Indy Sports Station right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Have a great weekend, everybody.